The Museum Roadshow is brought to you by 125 Apparel.
Folks, come on down to the dock. For 50 cents, I'll give you a roller coaster ride on the lake.
Or, if you're in the more romantic mood, we can also do a starlight cruise. I'm Clem TeVogt, the spirit of Clem. I'm here to tell you the story of this gentleman's life. Now, I was born in, of all places, Ogama, Minnesota, back in 1922. Now, we didn't stay there. We moved on into Canada, into Saskatchewan. We lived there for about 5 or 6 years, and then my dad and mom decided it was time to move back to the States. So we ended up here in beautiful Detroit Lakes. It was a great town to grow up in. Went to school at Holy Rosary, went to junior high, graduated from the high school here in Detroit Lakes. And then came the hard part, how to make a living. As a young kid, I spent time down at the dock. A man by the name of Fred Weiss owned a big dock that launched out into Detroit Lake, right where Lakeside Lodge is today. In fact, he owned Lakeside. And as a kid, I'd spend a lot of time down at the dock, dipping my toes in the water, fishing for perch off the end of the dock, and had a great time. It was a great place to be a kid. As I grew up, I asked Mr. Weiss, I said, you know, if you ever decide to sell this dock, you let me know. And then I worked for a few years at kind of a 5 and dime store up in downtown Detroit Lakes. And Mr. Weiss called me up and he said, you know, you wanted to buy that dock, now's your chance. So I had to scramble to find a partner in order to buy it. And once we purchased the dock and so forth, then I had to come up with the great idea of how am I going to make some money doing this. So the first thing I tried was, as you saw with the bullhorn, I gave rides to people after they came out of the pavilion. For 50 cents, they got an hour-and-a-half cruise on a speedboat, which was kind of rare in this town. Nobody had a boat with a motor on it. Most of them just kind of rode it. And so I had 2 of them, and by using the speedboat, we were able to give rides, make some money. And then the old brain kicked in, and I said, you know, if I can make some money just hauling 5 or 6 people around, what would happen if I could haul 30? So we had a bigger boat built. It was called the Lake Detroit, and the thing was 36 feet long and could hold 30 people. It looked just like a steamer out of off of the Mississippi River. We had a canopy on the top. We had pipes on the top. We even had a paddle wheel in the back. And I arranged for the Longbridge Resort, when we ordered a ride, I'd call them up and I'd say, well, I have 15 people on board. So they would make coffee and cookies and cupcakes and stuff like that. And they would feed the people when we got there, and we had a little break at Longbridge. Pretty soon, the cruise got known as the Coffee Cruise because we stopped for coffee all the time. Well, the old brain continued to work and said if I could make money hauling 30 people around, what would happen if I could haul even more? So we bought a 2-decker boat. It's called the Aquabelle. And we would have a dance floor on the top level above the controls. My wife, bless her heart, would be there to cook for us and so forth. We had a grand time on that party boat. But times changed. Pretty soon people were buying their own boats. So then we had to change our focus. Now people own boats, they would put them on a marina. And so we changed the name from Clem's Dock to Clem's Marina. And we would store the boats and so forth as people brought them in for the summer. Well, the dock was also a great place to watch life on Detroit Lake. In fact, when I hired boys, you know, we were right next door to the swimming beach. And the boys that I hired, I think they would have paid me to work on the dock because they had a ringside view of all the latest fashions in swimwear. Well, as time went on, it came time for us. I was spending all my days and nights at the dock. I would sleep overnight just to protect the properties, and the wife wasn't too happy about that. So we decided to sell the dock, which we did on a contract for deed, and I bought a mobile home park over by Longbridge in order to keep myself busy. A few years went by, and wouldn't you know, the guy that bought the dock went bankrupt. And guess who got the dock back? And I didn't mind that. Actually, it was kind of fun because I kind of missed the business, and I certainly missed the people that I worked with. So we got the dock back for a few years, and it was a great place to stand when we watched the fireworks. There was one 4th of July that the people that set off the fireworks on the lake kind of misjudged things, and the whole flotilla went up. It was the best fireworks show in town. Went off for 5 minutes, and that was it. The poor guys that were off lighting them, they jumped in the lake to protect themselves, but it was kind of fun to watch. Well, after a few more years of working the dock, I decided, okay, we're selling it. So I sold it to a man by the name of Mike Moore. And now it is owned by J&K Marine, and has become a, well, place where you can watch your pontoons and everything else like that. It was a great place to be. It's a nice town. It was a great place to grow up, a great place to do business, and thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Museum Roadshow, brought to you by 125 Apparel.